Hello ladies and gentlemen, thewierdguy here and welcome to another video. In today's video we're going to take a look at Advent of Chaos Soul Raids and take a look at every single boss that we are going to fight, and make sure that I give you guys some advice and some teams to use against every single one of them. So that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and take a look at all of the bosses more or less in order. But before we get into that, make sure to check out Alton's channel. It would have been impossible for me to go back and backtrack and gather all the videos in order to put together all the bosses that we're going to fight in the Soul Raid. So make sure to check out his channel, because that man has full Soul Raid videos, like 2 hours and half an hour videos where he shows every single fight against every single tier of bosses in one certain heroic. So that man's channel is definitely something entertaining to watch and more or less a database for videos like this. So make sure to go ahead to his channel and show him some love. And with all that being said, let's get into it. When it comes to boss Black Lightning, you can use pretty much any team. There's no specific things that this boss does to forbid you from using any of the teams. He's also combo interruptible and easily combo interruptible, so you'll not have any problems using teams that rely on that. The only thing is that he applies some dot through his specials, but I mean, just try not to get hit. But in terms of pure damage, you can literally use any team you want over here. I suggest you use a team that relies on combo interruptions, because the other teams can be used elsewhere, and this fight is specifically good for them. When it comes to boss, Green Arrow is the first time we're going to encounter some problems, because this man is going to be immune to crit, lethal, and will not be able to have his abilities disabled. So in order to make sure that you mitigate those things and don't suffer too much from them being there, try not to use the Batman Ninja team, because if they don't have access to lethal, they are going to perform like absolute garbage. And try to avoid Silver Banshee, because obviously he's not going to have his abilities able to be disabled. Teams I suggest over here are Kimflan, Sakomen, and Black Manta, because they usually do well even though you don't have access to crit chance and crit damage. If you don't have Black Manta team, the Just League team will do. It's combo interruptible and you're going to have a good time over here. When it comes to boss fight Canary, it's yet again pretty self-explanatory. If you read what she does, she's going to disable gear bonuses for might and tech characters, so you should avoid using the Kimflan, Sakomen and the Black Manta team. Also avoid using the Just League team, because you're not gonna have an easy time combo interrupting her, and they're going to rely on that. You can use the Batman Ninja team over here, you can use the Banshee team over here, you can use the League of Anarchy over here. You can even use Kimflan, Sakomen to an extent if you're a new player and fighting on normal, like that percentage damage on the special tree will still matter, and you most likely don't have much on gears anyway. But yeah, not a hard boss. You just have to be careful in terms of picking teams, so you don't play into her effects to pretty much make your characters useless. Captain Cold, pretty much same deal as it was with Black Lightning. You can use anything here. He's just gonna have things that increase his damage, and he's gonna deal some damage to tagged out opponents, but usually the damage is not that significant to really matter that much, and he does it only with his specials. So you can use anything, but again, you're going to have to fight 4 sub-bosses over here, so make sure that first of all you got Green Arrow covered and White Canary covered, because those are going to require some specific teams to beat, and then you can go ahead and distribute the teams that are left against Captain Cold and Black Lightning, because anything works over there. So yeah, Boss Flash is going to take reduced damage from basic attacks, and he's going to mitigate more with block, but to be honest, the basic attack less damage received didn't seem to matter when I played against him, so use any team over here. Kimflan, Sakomen will be an option for most likely all of you, and the Robert Gabriel Queen League of Anarchy will lead to a very fast cleanup, or maybe the Batman Ninja team, but yeah, anything can be used here, so you will not have to worry about it that much. When it comes to boss Batwoman, yet again, anything will do. She does not have anything to stop you from using any team, and she's also combo interruptible. So yet again, as previously stated in the previous tier, don't worry too much about what teams to use against Batwoman. Worry about what teams to use against the other sub-bosses, and then use whatever's left on Batwoman, because against her anything goes. When it comes to boss Blue Beetle, yet again, anything goes. He doesn't have anything to stop you from using any specific team, but make sure you're very confident in the team that you're using, because this dude, if you mess up once, he tends to get pretty spammy with his specials, and you might lose a lot of time if you mess up. So make sure you're comfortable with the team that you're using. But other than that, just show anything in there, and it will do good work. When it comes to boss Supergirl, don't use Silver Banshee ideally, because you can't disable her abilities and it's not gonna be a good time. Other than that, in theory you can use any single team, but she's not easily combo interruptible, so if you're not comfortable with that, don't use a team that relies on combo interruption. And at the same time, it would be ideal to lock her into an infinite combo, because as we know, the Supergirl characters can tend to get pretty spammy with that special one, and that takes a ton out of your fight. You can use Heartbreak Harley Quinn League of Anarchy, you can use Skinflint Aquaman with the Fodder Box on Dr. Fate to do an infinite combo, and you're going to be fine. Or you can use anything, you're going to have a little bit of a less optimal experience, but again, anything goes for the most part here. When it comes to boss Grid, yet again, we're in a little bit of trouble, because he's going to be yet again immune to anything like stun, freeze, crit, lethal, and I think also dots. I might be remembering that one wrong, but I think it's also dots. But yeah, don't use the Batman Ninja team, since without lethal and crit they don't do anything. Don't use the Silver Banshee team, since he can't have his abilities disabled. Try to use for the most part Skinflint Aquaman here. You can use Black Manta if you have him with Silver Green Arrow, so that you can easily combo interrupt grids. And yet again, Grid should be the character in this tier that you're focusing your best efforts to defeat him, and you should split the rest of your characters throughout the rest of the sub-bosses, because they are for the most part far easier than him. So yeah, prioritize killing Grid, and then whatever is unusable against Grid, use against other sub-bosses. When it comes to boss Nightwing, he's one of the easier bosses. Like, he doesn't do anything that would restrict you from using any teams, so every single team in the game will perform more or less at peak performance. He's combo interruptible also. Just make sure that you play correctly, because if you mess up, he's might have a chance to stun you, and you might mess up and lose a lot of time. But yet again, other than that, he's really not a challenge to take down, and you can easily do it. So all you need is a Skinflint Aquaman team or a League of Anarchy team. He's just gonna melt. Okay, so for the first time we have ran into some trouble, lads. This is, in my opinion, one of the more annoying bosses in Advent of Chaos, if not the most annoying. I'm happy that she's not on a higher tier, and she doesn't have higher health. So we're going to fight the Catwoman. So when it comes to that, we're already going to run into some trouble, because she's not gonna be an easy time combo interrupting her. It's almost impossible, so that rules out optimal gameplay for a lot of teams. And at the same time, she's going to tag in and out your characters, and her specials are going to do splash damage to the entire team. It's going to be more or less like Horrific Scarecrow in League Raids, but against Horrific Scarecrow in League Raids, the way you would play, and you'll play the same way here, is you use your damage dealer as the only character alive, and then you put the supports in there, and then let them die so that you still receive the passive bonuses, but your Skinflint Aquaman will be the only one to deal the damage, so you don't lose time. The problem with that is that if you have Advent of Chaos artifacts, and in like the lower tiers, even if you don't, she'll take a very long time to kill your support characters. But nevertheless, make sure you ungear your support characters. For example, you'd have Skinflint Aquaman, he's going to be fully geared, he's going to have an artifact equipped, and then let's say you're going to have Dr. Fate and Shazam. They're going to be gearless, so they die very fast. They're there just for the passives. You can use the Skinflint Aquaman team, you can use the Batman Ninja team to an extent, though they will take a very long time to die. Also, the Black Manta team, you can do a strategy that you're seeing right now over here with tagging in between Heartbreak Harley Quinn and Entangling Poison Ivy. There are many ways to get rid of this. Like, the most efficient one is going to be Skinflint Aquaman plus Raven and keeping both of them alive. There are many ways to get rid of this, but nevertheless it's going to be one of the more annoying experiences, so tread with care. Again, for most of you people, it's going to be Skinflint Aquaman plus Dr. Fate. Don't even drop the Shazam in there. Go Skinflint Aquaman with an artifact on, and Dr. Fate with no gears and let Dr. Fate die and then pick up the pace from there. And yeah, good luck. This is one of the more annoying ones again. When it comes to Boss Scarecrow, yet again, it's gonna be a pretty straightforward fight. You can use for the most part anything, but the thing that you have to keep in mind is that you'll have healing disabled, so you'll have to be a little bit more cautious to not get your characters killed, and at the same time you'll not be able to use special ones. And that's fine for the most part because a lot of characters don't rely on the special one, but Silver Banshee does, so you can't really use her here optimally. And at the same time, you can't really use the Multiverse team here with Multiverse Armor Supergirl Special 1, though yet again that wouldn't be anyways in top 6 teams, that would be the top 7 teams. So yeah, it's easily combo interruptible, just throw something there and you'll be fine, but avoid using Silver Banshee because you're not gonna have a good time or the Multiverse team, and place them elsewhere. Other than that, anything goes here. And you're going to have a very easy time, and this is a nice fight to practice combo interruption actually, so maybe try it if you haven't tried it. Okay, so sadly there was no footage in the men's video for Boss Bane and Boss Deadshot, but that's fine because both of them are going to have one thing in common. They are going to be very easy fights to fight against Deadshot. Yet again, anything goes. Just make sure you distribute your teams to the bosses that you should, and then put whatever's left in there because anything will be fine. He can trigger ranged attacks easily if you are away from him, so keep that on in mind. And at the same time, Boss Bane is going to be, yet again, a pretty straightforward fight. Anything goes, he's easy to combo interrupt. Just make sure you don't use Silver Banshee because you can't disable his abilities. And now moving on to Boss Cyborg. Against Boss Cyborg, you're going to have a good time with anything for the most part. He's fortified, so you'll have to keep in mind reducing his defense. But over here, and we'll get into that more when we get to Boss Starfire, I actually suggest you don't fight Boss Cyborg when you get to him, and unless you're on normal. If you're on normal, it doesn't matter, but if you're on heroic, you don't fight Boss Cyborg for now and let him alive, because when we get to Starfire, the Bad Ninja team will be useless against Starfire, but will do an amazing job against both Cyborgs. So the strategy is you keep both Cyborg alive when you get to Starfire, and then you use all your teams against Starfire except for the Bad Ninja team, and then transition the Bad Ninja team and maybe the Silver Bench team to both Cyborg and fight them at the same time, so you don't waste good teams that would otherwise deal no damage to boss Starfire. But yeah, anything goes here. Camouflage Sakome, Silver Banshee, Bad Ninja team, name it, it works. You're gonna have an easy time here. Now, moving on to the next tier, we're going to start off with Boss Atrocitus, and when it comes to him, pretty much in theory everything works, but there is that hazard on the ground that is going to keep following you. Now, if you get strong enough artifacts, you will not care about that hazard following you because it will not deal enough damage, but if you don't, then it will deal a significant amount of damage to you. And the way to bypass that is not actually to out-heal it and out-resist it, because it can't kill you. It can get you all the way to 1 health, but that's not a killing blow, so you have two options here. Either use the Batman Ninja team, because Batman Ninja Catwoman will easily out-heal that hazard, or use the Camouflage Sakome team with the Firebox on Dr. Fate, or the League of Anarchy team, the Harvard Card Queen League of Anarchy team, and lock Atrocitus into an infinite combo. You can even use the Joker League of Anarchy team because you'll be able to heal a lot, so it will not matter. You can even use the Black Manta team. Black Manta has usually enough health to outlast that. But yeah, yet again, if you can outlast the dot damage for 3 minutes, then don't worry about anything. If you can't, then make sure you either are able to heal or to lock him into an infinite combo, and you should be fine for the most part. He's easily combo interruptible. Boss Supergirl, well, same as the other Boss Supergirl we had, because I'm pretty sure we had one in tier 1 or tier 2. Anything works here, but at the same time she can be a little bit annoying because of the mechanics of the character, and the special one that takes a ton of time. So make sure that you are able to maybe lock her into an infinite combo. Again, the Heartbreak Harley Quinn League of Anarchy will have a very easy time here and will be a very smooth fight. Camouflage Sakome is also an option. And yeah, yet again, any team can be used here, but with some teams, if you choose the special one, you're going to lose precious time. So maybe try to use something that is optimal. Now we have a Martian Manhunter fight. So this guy's gonna have class changes, same as phase 3 and same as reverse flash in Dawn of Apocalypse, but thankfully he's not gonna stagger you during the class change, so I thought I would mention that. So you can just keep doing the combos as normal. As he changes classes, he will not interrupt you. And this guy, anything can be used against him. He doesn't specifically impede the use of anything, but at the same time, this guy will heavily reward perfect gameplay, because if you play it perfectly, he's combo interruptible, he doesn't restrict the use of anything, he's the perfect boss to fight. But as soon as you mess something up, he's gonna either use the special one and lock your character into the fight, or use the special to tag your damage dealer out and mess up your whole fight. And honestly, there's not really a certain strategy to counteract those things. It's just something that's gonna be very reliant on you lads and how good you're going to be able to play this. Yet again, if you want to go for a safe option, use the Batman Ninja team. The Kim Flint's Aquaman team should also have a more or less easy time. You can lock him into a stun with the League of Anarchy team. But yet again, anything can be used here, but how efficient they are over here, it really relies on your gameplay, and there's not much I can do to help you with that in this video. Now, Boss Robin is yet again going to be one of those very straightforward fights and easy fights. There's nothing that restricts anything from being used here. His combo interruptible is gonna be the easiest boss in the tier. So yet again, make sure that you properly distribute your teams towards the other sub bosses of the tier, and then whatever's left, use it here, because it doesn't matter what it is, it'll do well, but some other bosses might require some specific things. But yeah, just don't worry about Boss Robin, he'll be a walk in the park. When it comes to boss Starfire, yet again, ideally you would want to have boss Cyborg alive, because Batman Ninja team and Silver Banshee team are going to be 100% useless here, because Batman Ninja team doesn't have lethal and crit, and they are going to deal the equivalent of damage of a Swamp Thing in League Raids, so you'd ideally want to move them to boss Cyborg that's still alive. Yet again, Silver Banshee team is not gonna deal any damage without crits or ability to disable enemies' abilities, and now we're left with a few teams. Kim Flint's Aquaman will do well. Again, she's gonna have a dot damage. She's gonna constantly deal dot damage to you, so ideally you want to try and lock her into an infinite combo with Kim Flint's Aquaman. Put the Firebox on Dr. Fate and do the infinite combo. If you can't do that or don't have the Firebox and you can't combo interrupt, just make sure you do whatever you have to do to get out 3 special trees with Kim Flint's Aquaman every fight, and she will eventually go down. Black Manta team works very well, but requires yet again combo interruption. League of Anarchy team, the Harper Card Queen one, can do an okay job, because even though they don't have access to crits and lethals and all that stuff, they're going to still be able to inflict dots, so the damage is gonna be reasonable. And yeah, other than that, good luck, my dude. If you've got a Raven and the Heartbreak Harley Quinn, you'll easily one-shot. If not, it'll take some time, and hopefully you left boss Cyborg alive, because then you'll be stuck in a situation where you have to use the Bad Ninja team and deal something like 5 to 10 million damage. But yeah, nevertheless, let's move on. Boy, oh boy, I got here my boy boss Black Adam, and this is gonna be a little bit of an annoying one. So this dude basically has increased defense, and at the same time will increase his damage the more power he has. So this man hits very hard, takes very little damage, and has a very annoying AI. And at the same time, you're going to have a little bit of a problem with the stuns on him with the Heartbreak Harley Quinn team, because he's one of the few characters in Just Mobile that simply have half duration on the stuns inflicted on them. So when it comes to the teams that you can use here, for the most part you can use anything, but you're gonna have to make sure that you survive somehow, because yet again he deals a ton of damage. If you're using the Kim Flint's Aquaman team, you can reduce his defense with like classic Superman, but if you see that it is not an optimal thing to do and you're dying, just forget about classic Superman, forget about his defense, and do your best to get our 3 special trees so you get that percentage damage in. Again, if you have Raven, that's gonna be an easy problem solver for you. Batman Ninja team can do decently here. Yet again, in theory, anything can do well here. In practice, the problem is survival. So I suggest the Batman Ninja team and the Kim Flint's Aquaman team, and maybe the League of Anarchy team, even though the stun duration is going to be heavily nerfed. Boss Dr. Fate is going to be easily the easiest boss on this tier. He's not gonna have anything special about him. He's simply going to be kind of the same thing as a Dr. Fate in League Raids, but he'll deal some dot on his specials, and at the same time will not have the cost of his specials reduced by his passive. So yeah, use anything here. Again, this character should be the place where you use all the teams that are not needed or will not perform well in other places, and he's easily enough common choppable after 2 hits, so do keep that in mind. So yet again, against Dr. Fate, you're going to be most likely fine. Now against Boss Enchantress, you'll not have access to your Special 1, Special 2, but the Special 3 will be available, so it's not gonna be the hardest fight in the world, but at the same time, not having access to Special 1, Special 2 will make a few teams more or less unusable. Server Bench will not perform optimally. Some League of Anarchy teams will not perform optimally. You can use Heartbreaker Harley Quinn with Entangling Poison Ivy Special 3 for the stun. You'll need to upgrade that, of course, so that's a great investment. You can use Camouflage Sakomen with his Special 3. You can use the Black Manta or the Just League team, but you have to be very careful with the combo interruption. With Black Manta, you can use the Silver Green Lantern to make your combo interruptions easier. So while it's not the hardest fight in the world, it's gonna restrict your teams a little bit, so make sure you distribute them, as I said, to the other bosses and sub-bosses of this tier, so you don't waste any pips. When it comes to Boss Shazam, yet again, it's gonna be exactly the same deal as Dr. Fate in terms of being a very easy boss to fight, where you can use pretty much any team, but it's gonna have some armor on top of that, because he's got fortified, so make sure that the teams that you're using there are going to have a way to bypass that, like the Bad Ninja team's armor reduction, or the Server Bench's Special 3, but overall, it's going to be a very easy fight that you should not have much trouble with. And now when it comes to Raven, like, you don't really have an option, you have to use all your teams against her, and that's not gonna be a great time, since she's gonna disable your crits and lethals and dot. So yeah, a lot of teams that would perform very well in other places would really suck. So the teams that actually do well are the Camouflage Sakomen teams, the Black Manta team, the Just League team. Just League team kind of requires high-level Soroid artifacts to do well, but it does okay. And the Server Bench team surprisingly well. Other than that, I suggest you maybe use Heartbreak Harley Quinn plus Brain plus Red Hood and rely on basic attacks, and I don't even know, man, at this point. I don't even know what to use for the rest of the 2 teams. Like, if something is not in this 4 teams, it will perform abysmal. Like, the Batman Ninja team does around 10 million damage. Goes from doing 10 million damage from doing 200 million damage. So yeah, this fight is awful. It's not necessarily a hard fight, but a fight that restricts you in a dumb way. So yeah, other than that, learn how to combo interrupt. You'll have a far easier time if you combo interrupt here, because she's gonna transition very fast from a jump attack to a block, and that can be very annoying. At the same time, I suggest using your Raven with Black Manta instead of Camouflage Sakomen if you do have both Raven and the Black Manta, and the Black Manta is at the very least 4 stars, because she tends to provide more damage for Black Manta than Camouflage Sakomen in this fight specifically. And yeah, not much else to say. It's just gonna be a grindy process, not necessarily a hard process. And when you're using like the Server Bench team or something that requires the combo builder to get close very fast, unless you got crazy high level Soroid artifacts, you're going to be better off using the fodder box on your combo builder. Yet again, unless you're losing on a lot of passive attack stats from Chaos Artifacts, because she's gonna have the Special 2 where she backs away a lot, and it's gonna be very hard without Firebox to engage with that. But again, if you have very high level Advent of Chaos Artifacts, you might not want to give up those bonuses for the ability to get close. And with that being said, yet again, make sure to check out my dude Alton. Huge thanks for providing all the footage for this video. Hope you guys found this helpful. And with that being said, I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. Goodbye!